organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up tonight on Daily Iowan TV, how the Hawkeye intramural sports are keeping students active.
And one of our reporters steps out of his comfort zone and onto the water. Coming up next.
And coming up in sports, the Iowa volleyball team hit the shores of Hawaii.
Find out why it was such a special trip for the team and head coach Bon Szymanski.
All that and more coming up.
This is Daily Iowan TV. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Sanchez.
And I'm Jeremy Meyer.
The U.S. House Judiciary Committee held a hearing about Planned Parenthood this Wednesday morning. The hearing is a result of an ongoing investigation into Planned Parenthood after videos surfaced that allegedly show the discussion of selling aborted fetal tissue. We'll keep you updated as more information is released about the hearing.
The city of Baltimore approved a $6.4 million settlement with the family of Freddie Gray, a 25-year-old black male who died after he was injured during an arrest. Many protests broke out in the city after Gray's death this past April. His family filed claims against the Baltimore Police Department in the wake of his death. The settlement, which was announced Tuesday, could decide whether or not the 6 charged officers' trials would be moved to a civil court.
President Barack Obama is pushing for free community college across the nation. The plan has been stalled in Congress, but the president is now focusing on state and local programs to jumpstart the initiative. President Obama has announced that he will be visiting North High School in Des Moines later this week to meet with students and their parents about college affordability.
Most colleges, though, aren't free. The tuition freeze in Iowa is over, at least at Iowa State University and the University of Northern Iowa. The Board of Regents approved a mid-year $100 increase on Wednesday for the 2 universities, while keeping the University of Iowa off the list. The UI stayed off the list after the president of UI's student government asked the board to reconsider. UNI and ISU student representatives say the increase will help pay for rising student enrollments.
One way students here at the UI can stay healthy is by getting involved in intramural sports. Daily Iowan TV's Alara Bartlett has a look inside a new after-class activity.
Intramural sports are off to a busy start this year, but there is a new addition that has people talking. Spike ball is a 4-person game that is a cross between foursquare, volleyball, and racquetball. The game is centered around a small, trampoline-like net. Each team may use a maximum of 3 hits in order to pass the ball to their opponents. Players score by hitting the ball into the net so that the other team may not return it.
I got my first chance to play myself last fall, and it was so much fun. And after that weekend, I came back to our staff and was like, hey, we really need to consider this.
The racquetball element is that players may move freely around the net once the ball has been served by the opposing team. Spike ball may be found being played on the green lawns of Quadrangle Residence Hall.
It seems like there's been some good feedback, and we've had marketing events where we've played on campus in the quad courtyard, and we played the week before classes over in the Pentecrest, and we see people looking and they're curious about what that is because it's not mainstream.
Unlike other lesser-known sports, spike ball has been added to the regular lineup of this year's intramurals. Other lesser-known sports like billiards, darts, and water polo battleship are a part of Intramural's Friday Night Series, which promotes unique alcohol-free weekend activities. The first intramural spike ball tournament will be held on September 16th, with another scheduled for the spring semester. Reporting for Daily Iowan TV, this is Alara Bartlett.
Well, Megan, it seems like the weather around campus has really cooled down the last couple of days.
Absolutely, Jeremy, but I'm looking for some more fall weather. Hopefully we'll see it in the next few weeks. Let's toss it over to Afe Aon-Rowe in the weather studio. Afe?
We'll be heading into Thursday with cooler temperatures. In the morning, the temperature is expected to be at 49 degrees with a 50% chance of rain. In the afternoon, temperature is expected to rise to 75 degrees with cloudy skies. In the night, The temperatures will go down to 68 degrees with a 50% chance of thunderstorms. On Friday, the temperature is expected to be warmer with a high of 67 degrees and a low of 44. On Saturday, the temperature is expected to be at a high of 67 degrees and a low of 43, so make sure to keep a light jacket handy. On Sunday, temperatures are expected to reach the 70s, and temperatures on Monday and Tuesday are expected to remain in the 80s. That's all I have in the weather studio. Back to you guys at the desk.
While most UI students are sleeping at 6 a.m., the University of Iowa men's rowing team is just hitting the water. Reporter Austin Love is beginning a new series here at Daily Iowan TV, where he steps into the shoes of other UI students. Wednesday, he went to check out the men's rowing club.
This week, I traded my microphone for an oar and joined the men's rowing team. Well, not really, but they were gracious enough to let me tag along to watch the pros at work.
1 and 2.
Just 2 weeks before their first meet, the guys are in crunch time, getting into shape and getting on the same page.
Cut the cake. You call it.
As practice went on, I noticed my camera kept getting splashed more and more and more, to what I soon learned that this was some tough work.
Your legs hurt, your abs hurt, and your arms hurt, so there's no easy way out for it.
This is the boat the Iowa rowing team uses to compete with. While they just may be a club team, they use this to go against some of the best in the nation.
We show up to races and we pull up with our pickup truck and our one-person 8 boat, and Wisconsin shows up with their double-decker charter bus. You know, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, all right, you know, we're facing these teams and, you know, we're still going, hopefully still going as far as they can.
Being student athletes, there's a lot that these rowers have to balance.
When do you guys have class? 9:30. 9:30, 3:30.
But if it wasn't for this team,
okay.
junior Alex Zulke's college career might have looked a little different.
I don't think I'd be here without rowing. Freshman year, I almost transferred. You know, I met Austin, and then we showed up for the rowing team together, and it just kind of, everything fell into place. If looking back in 30 years, this will be what I remember, for sure.
In Iowa City, Austin Love, Daily Iowan TV.
Well, Megan, after last week's victory for Iowa football, I'm sure there are a lot of fans excited about their chances in Ames on Saturday.
Beat State, am I right, Jeremy? Let's toss it over to Hannah Thompson and Taylor Brooks in the sports studio to hear the latest on Hawkeye sports.
Thanks, Megan and Jeremy. We have an update on how Iowa football head coach Kirk Ferentz is feeling about their second game of the season in just a bit.
But first, we hit the beach.
Absolutely. Labor Day weekend usually lends itself to journeys home and some much-needed rest and relaxation.
And for the Iowa women's volleyball team, they took advantage of the extra days and headed way down south to show some Hawkeye spirit.
I got the chance to talk to the girls on their weekend getaway. Check it out. Over the long 4-day weekend, Iowa volleyball traveled over 4,000 miles down to Honolulu, Hawaii for the Hawaiian Airlines Wahine Volleyball Classic. But for setter Loxley Keala, it was more than just a trip to a tournament, it was a homecoming.
As soon as we got off the airplane, actually, my parents and our family friends, they came and gave lace to everyone and kind of like welcomed us to the island. And I think that's definitely something that makes Hawaii unique. It's just our aloha spirit. And, you know, even if you don't know the person and they're a complete stranger, you know, they're kind of your ohana in that sense.
Not only did they play volleyball, the team took time to see Pearl Harbor, volunteer at a local school, and do life as Keala normally does.
And it was just really great for the team to kind of experience what, you know, essentially I experience every day.
Which was at her beach house on the North Shore, a definite team favorite.
My favorite part of the weekend was going to Loxley's beach house. Her family cooked us all this Hawaiian dinner and we just got to go to the beach and it was really, really fun.
Though they only came out of the tournament with a single win against American, the experience was well worth it in the minds of the coaches and players.
We got to play against Hawaii in front of a huge crowd, almost 7,000 people there at their arena, and you get those moments, and that's where you really get your mettle tested.
So I've been going to Hawaii matches since I was probably 6 years old, and just always idolizing the volleyball players, and it was just amazing to play in that arena. That I've been, you know, watching from the stands ever since I was a little girl, and that it just is incredible to me, like, to be able to play at that level and to be able to play against Hawaii.
As they continue through the season, the team knows the bonding from this trip will only help them be a more cohesive unit. From Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hannah Thompson, Daily Iowan TV Sports. The volleyball team finally brings the game back to Iowa City as they take on Iowa State this Friday in the Cy-Hawk Series and Texas A&M on Saturday.
Now, the Cy-Hawk Series this weekend, Hannah, is obviously something to look out for, not only for the volleyball team, though. The Iowa women's soccer team will host Iowa State on Friday night as well, and Iowa football will head to Ames on Saturday to try and get revenge on Iowa State from the upset last year.
Now, if you remember, Taylor, last year's football game against Iowa and Iowa State, it was a 20-17 upset by just a field goal.
And it was here in Iowa City. Kinnick Stadium was absolutely crazy. I was there for that game. But, you know, this year is a new team, and we caught up with head coach Kirk Ferentz today and how he is so connected to this Cy-Hawk series.
My 26th game involved in this series, and you know, maybe somebody's got that one topped. I'm not sure, but I imagine it's pretty high on the list. And what I can tell you is I just fully understand and appreciate what this series is all about. It's been a great series through the years.
Now, aside from a game, there was quite a different atmosphere in Coach Kirk Ferentz's presser as former Hawkeye tight end Tyler Sash passed away on September 10th. Coach Ferentz took time to go through some of his memories with Tyler.
Yeah, he certainly was a special young man in our program, had a great career here. I was extremely competitive, you know, just a high energy player and did a lot of great things. And you could talk about a lot of things that Tyler did here. But it's kind of interesting as I think about him. You know, my first exposure to Tyler was actually at a Little League basketball game. I think it was in Signary. And I can't tell you what grade he was in, but it was a youth league basketball game. Tyler's team beat him 40-36 that day, and I remember coming home and telling our staff, saw a kid that scored 36 of 40 points that day, single-handedly beat you know, James's team. So that was my first exposure to him. I remember calling him. He's on his way back from the state track meet his junior year, and that's when we offered him a scholarship, and you know, we had a great, certainly great time with him after that.
Now, it wasn't just sadness that was all over Iowa's campus yesterday. It was all over the state of Iowa. And Iowa State did reach out to the University of Iowa about the game this weekend, and they're thinking of some type of tribute that will happen that day. But switching gears a little bit, we head from the football turf to the baseball turf, and it was a season to remember last year for the Iowa baseball team.
That's right, Taylor, and it was an open book as to how the season would end.
And unfortunately for us, the games were still going on when we were done with school, so we couldn't cover all the way because they went into the season. Obviously, great for them. But Daily Iowan TV sports reporter Zach Mackey caught up with head coach Rick Heller and looked back at the 2015 season.
What a ride Coach Rick Heller and the 2015 Iowa baseball team put Hawkeye fans through last season. A season that will go down as one of the best in Hawkeye baseball's existence. It was a year that put smiles on the faces of many Iowa baseball fans and converted a few new ones along the way. A season where the Hawkeyes returned to relevancy on the national stage, earning their first national ranking since the 1990 season.
To a regional tournament and win 2 games, you know, against a known power. To lose the 2 games that we lost by a total of only 3 runs, and to be so close to playing in a super regional, it just makes me, you know, look back and smile at what those kids were able to do and their commitment and focus leading into the season, not only during the season, but the hard work that they put in that allowed them to have the kind of year that they had, the leadership, the unselfishness.
Looking back at the season, Heller says their focus and ability to go out over the course of a long season and play great day in and day out and win every series except the last one was remarkable. The consistency is what impressed me most. While the Hawkeyes won on the field, they also won in the MLB draft, having 5 players drafted to continue their baseball careers. The Hawks boasted 41 wins, an NCAA regional finals berth, and a second-place finish in the Big Ten Conference.
We still have a lot of room to grow. There's no question about it. I mean, this was an amazing year, and things really lined up for us. But we've got a lot of work to do, and we know that, and we're gonna set out to do the work.
Zach Mackey for Daily Iowan TV Sports.
And Zach will have more baseball for us in the near future as the Hawks started their fall practice on September 6th, and they have a couple fall ball games coming up on their schedule.
And that does it here for us in the sports studio on this Wednesday night. But check us out for pregame as we bring that back on Thursday night.
Guys, back to you at the desk.
That's all we have tonight on Daily Iowan TV.
Be sure to check us out anytime online for the latest news, weather, and Hawkeye sports.
Thanks for joining us.
Go Hawks, and good night.